Hello and welcome to Narayana IAS. I am Pratik, your faculty for Daily News Analysis. Now students, we shall be discussing 5 most important topics from the Hindu and the Indian Express. So let's have a quick glance of the topics that we shall be discussing in today's session. The first topic is taken from Hindu page number 9. Now in this article, we are going to understand whether states require special packages outside the Finance Commission recommendations. So we'll understand the requirement for special package, we'll understand more about the Finance Commission, its recommendations, vertical and horizontal distribution, etc. The second topic we have taken from Hindu page number 13. Now students, the parliament had passed 4 labor codes in the year 2020, but because of the difficulties faced, the government was unable to implement it. But now, with the things under control, the Labour Ministry is trying to implement the 4 labor codes that were passed in the year 2020. The third article is taken from Hindu page number 12. Now students, recently the foreign ministers of the BIMSTEC organization met. So in this article, we'll understand the meaning of the acronym BIMSTEC and the importance of BIMSTEC. The fourth article we have taken from Indian Express page number 17. Now students, in this article we are going to understand a phenomena called heat dome. The western USA is reeling under a severe heat wave, right, which is understood by the geographical name of heat dome. And the fifth article is taken from Hindu page number 10. Now in this article students, we are going to understand the reasons why the dengue cases across the world are on rise. So we'll understand about the dengue case, why this disease occurs, and we'll understand the symptoms and also understand the reasons why it has become a global problem. And finally, we shall discuss few practice questions so that you understand the type of questions UPSC can ask in the UPSC examination, right? So let's get started. Students, the title of the first topic is, should states get special package outside Finance Commission allocations? Now in this article, we shall understand what is Finance Commission, the provisions of Finance Commissions and the special packages given to different states, right? And you can map this under GS paper 2, issues and challenges pertaining to the federal structure. Now let's go through a previous question asked in the year 2021. How have the recommendations of 14th Finance Commission of India enabled the states to improve their fiscal position? Now to address this question, it is important to understand the concept of Finance Commission. Now, what is the context? The context is that as the union budget is approaching, the chief ministers of Andhra Pradesh and Bihar have requested for a special package from the central government, and this special package lies outside the Finance Commission. You might get confused, but let me just explain the details of the article so that you exactly understand what the article is talking about. Now, let's understand first about the Finance Commission. Finance Commission, most importantly, it is a constitutional body. It is not a statutory body. It is a constitutional body, right? And the Finance Commission is constituted by the President. This is for your prelims. Now, it is also quasi-judicial body. Why quasi-judicial? Because it also plays the role of a judiciary. That is, it decides how much revenue or how much money should be shared or distributed between the center and the states. It is not permanent, which means it is constituted every 5th year by the President of India. Very, very important point for your pre. Now, constitutional provisions, Article 280 deals with Finance Commission, 281 deals with the recommendation. Now, why I am covering this particular provision? Because UPSC had asked a question this year, prelims this year, on money bill, Article 110 and 109. That's the reason such provisions also becomes important for your pre-examination. Then composition, the chairman and 4 members, they are appointed by the President. Qualification, you need experience in public affairs, finance, administration, economics or law. Functions, distribution of taxes. Now it will recommend on the distribution of net tax proceeds between the union and the states. So the central government, they collect the taxes. Now the Finance Commission will recommend how much money should be shared between the center and the states. Grants in aid. The central government, they provide grants to the states. Now, which are the principles on the basis of which the central government can or should give grants to the states is something the Finance Commission will determine. Resource augmentation. Now, in order to amplify the resources of panchayats and municipalities, the Finance Commission will give recommendations. Advisory role. The role of Finance Commission is only advisory. It is not binding on the government. Very, very important point for your pre. Now, recommendations. One, vertical. Very, very important to understand the difference between vertical devolution and horizontal distribution. Now, what is vertical devolution? Which means the amount of money or revenue the central government raises because of taxes, right? So, the central government is raising money because of taxes. Now, this money collected by the central government will be given to states. Let's say, for example, the central government has collected 1000 rupees. Now, this 1000 rupees will be divided or shared between the central government and the states, which means some money, let's say 300 rupees, the central government will keep it to itself and the rest it will be given to the states. So, out of, let's say 1000, central government is keeping 300 rupees. 700 rupees the central government is giving to the states. This is vertical devolution, simple. I hope you understood what is vertical devolution. Horizontal distribution. Now, the 700 rupees, will this 700 rupees be equally divided or equally given to all the states is a question. No. Here, this 700 rupees is not equally divided. Here, the allocation or the distribution of this 700 rupees among the states will be based on a formula. What is the formula? We'll discuss in the next slide. I hope you understood the difference between vertical and horizontal distribution, right? Grants in aid, additional transfers to specific states or sectors, right? This also the Finance Commission recommends. Now, it is important to understand the 15th and the 16th Finance Commission. The existing one is the 15th Finance Commission and NK Singh is sharing it, and the recommendations will be applicable from 21 to 26. The 16th Finance Commission was constituted in 2023. It will be chaired by Arvind Panagria and the recommendations will be applicable in between 25 and 31. Very, very important point again for your prelims. Right. So, this thing you need to remember, you need to revise and keep this thing in your mind. Now, what are Finance Commission allocations? As I told you, when it comes to horizontal distribution, so of the 700 rupees, the central government will give it to the states. The distribution or division of this 700 rupees will be based on the formula. Formula like, for example, income levels. Now, the per capita income. If the per capita income of the people of a state is less, then that state would get more money, right? Population. If the population, let's say the population of UP is high. Now, this state will get more money compared to other states like Maharashtra. Area. If the area of that state is large, then that state would get more money. Forest cover. Now, or ecological factors like, let's say, for example, if the forest cover of that state is more, right, then that state would get more money. Why? Because the state government has to utilize money or needs money for the conservation purpose. So, based on this formula, the Finance Commission will decide which state would get how much money of the remaining 700 rupees. I hope you understood the difference between vertical devolution, that is the central government is devolving the money to states, and horizontal, how much money which state would get is something that is defined as per this formula. Now, these allocations, the horizontal distribution, are intended to ensure a fair and equitable distribution of resources. Now, this will actually address the regional disparities between, let's say, Bihar and Maharashtra and promote balanced economic development. What is special package? Finance Commission will give recommendations, right? Now, outside this Finance Commission recommendations, the central government has a power to give extra money to states. Simple. This is nothing but special package which is outside the Finance Commission. Why this special package is granted? Why? Because a state might face a peculiar challenge. To address that challenge, the central government can give a special package. These special packages are discretionary and they are mostly influenced by political consideration and negotiations. For example, the the political party headed by Nitish Kumar, JDU, and Chandrababu Naidu, TDP, they both are supporting the central government, right? The Modi government. That's the reason now the central government will give these states special package. Now, what are the benefits of special packages? One, the special packages can provide targeted assistance to states. For example, let's say here, this is an example of Andhra Pradesh. Now, Andhra Pradesh, the state was bifurcated into two states, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. Now, Andhra Pradesh has to build a new capital city. For that, the Andhra Pradesh is going to need money for the infrastructural development. So, in such cases, the central government would grant that state special package. Same is the case with Bihar. Why? Because Bihar has lower levels of development. In order to meet the demands of the state of Bihar, the central government can grant special package, right? This special packages can stimulate economic growth and development by providing funds, right? Now, which are the issues and impact because of special packages? One, fiscal burden. Now, because the central government is giving so much of money to states, the burden on the central government might increase. One. The second, political influence. Now, here, the central government can also be biased. Why? Because based on which political party would support the central government might decide which state would get special package. Now, this can work well for the politics, or let's say for the stability of the government, but in the long run, it might not be beneficial. Third, governance and utilization. Now, the money that the central government is giving to the states that require special package, if the effectiveness of the special package is undermined, then that will be a major tragedy, which means the money that the central government is giving to the states depends on the governance and administrative capacity of the recipient state, which means the state that is getting the special package should ensure they focus more on the governance and administration to ensure that the money they are getting from the central government is not misutilized. Regional disparities. Again, if the money is not spent properly, the regional differences or inequalities would further worsen. This is another issue. Way forward. Now, way forward being giving states money actually is helping state to become financially independent. So, this leads to greater decentralization, that is giving more power to the states. Second, flexibility in GST. Now, the reforms in GST would allow the states to fix tax rates, which would again help the states to increase the tax revenues. Second, way forward. Reforming special packages. Now, again, it is very important for the recipient state to ensure there is transparency, fairness, accountability in utilizing the money they are getting as part of special package. Fourth, same, you have to ensure that the state that is getting special package should have or the governance capacities and implement robust monitoring frameworks, which means the recipient state should have the capability to utilize the money they are getting to the best optimum use. Right? I hope students you understood the entire article and all the dimensions. Right? Students, now the title of the next topic is Center Begins Efforts to Implement Labor Codes. Now, in this article, we'll understand what are these new labor codes and the labor reforms in our country. You can map this under GS paper 2. Let's go through a PYQ asked in the year 2015. Success of Make in India program depends on the success of Skill India program and the radical labor reforms. So, here you need to understand what is this labor reforms. What is the context? The Labor Ministry is implementing the 4 labor codes that it had brought in or drafted and passed in the parliament in the year 2020. Now, these labor codes were passed in the parliament in 2020 and now it is implementing it. You might wonder why didn't the central government implement when the codes were passed in the year 2020. Now, this is because the labor codes were objected or they were criticized by the trade unions. Why? Because the trade unions, they argued that the codes will curtail the trade union rights and reduce the social security given to the workers. We'll understand more about the labor codes. Now let's talk about the labor subject. This labor subject falls under the concurrent list, which means with respect to labor as a subject, both the central as well as the state government can make laws. This is one point. Second, now before the new labor codes, there were 40 central laws and more than 100 state laws governing labor related matters, and this actually created a complex regulatory framework. The second National Commission on Labour recommended integrating all the central laws into 4 simplified groups. And which are these groups? 1. The industrial relations, wages, social security and safety, welfare and working conditions. So all the central laws should be integrated into these 4 groups. And taking on the recommendations, the central government introduced bills to integrate all the 29 central laws, and it drafted 4 labor codes. 1. Code on wages, code on industrial relations, code on social security and the occupational safety, health and working conditions. So these are the 4 labor codes the central government or the parliament had enacted. So this is very, very important for you all to remember. This 4 new labor codes, very important. Now here we'll understand the key provisions of the new labor codes. Now students, it is not necessary for you all to mug up all the provisions under the labor codes, but you need to have a basic idea of the provisions which are covered under which labor code. For example, the first one is Code on Wages 2019. Now under the Code on Wages, these are the provisions that are covered. For example, the Code on Wages, it will replace this act, Payment of Bonus Act, Equal Remuneration. These 4 laws. So again a point for your prelims. Then this code, it regulates wage and bonus payments in all employments involving industry, business, trade or manufacture. It is applicable to all the employees. Now the central government will decide wages for specific sectors like mines, railways, oil fields, while the state governments will decide for the other sectors. Wages definition, it includes salary, allowance, monetary component and excludes bonuses and travelling allowances. Floor wage is the minimum basic wage that every employee should get. Again covered under Code of Wages. Working hours and overtime, how much will that be? It will be decided both by the central government and the state government. Then again the wage periods and deductions, annual bonus, gender discrimination, advisory boards. Now this advisory board would consist of employees, workers, state government representatives and independent persons, and penalties. Now all these provisions are governed by the Code of Wages, right? I guess you can read all these provisions. They are very easy to understand. Now the provisions which are difficult to understand, I'll explain those provisions, right? So the first one is Code on Wages. The second one is the Industrial Relations Code. The first provision is Standing Order Requirement. Now what is a Standing Order Requirement? Now standing order requirement, students, they govern all the aspects related to employment. For example, the working conditions, the holidays, then the grievance redressal. All these aspects related to employment is something that the Industrial Relations Code would cover. Hiring and firing flexibility, again covered under Industrial Relations. Strike conditions. Now legal strike requires a prior notice of 14 days, which is 14 days prior notice is required, and the strikes are prohibited during the tribunal proceedings. And then reskilling fund. Now what is this reskilling fund? Now who are these retrenched workers? Now let's say the employees who are laid off, right? Because let's say the company wanted to reduce the size of employees, or the company is going through financial crunch, so the company had to lay off workers. Now in this reskilling fund, these employees will be trained, right? And for training purpose, a fund is created which is known as a reskilling fund, which means the employees who are laid off, now they will be reskilled or they will be trained so that they get a job. Then Code on Social Security. Now what is Social Security? For example, the Provident Fund. Example, this is known as Social Security, right? Now, the employer definition is covered under the Code on Social Security. Gratuity period. Now, what is gratuity period? Now, in order to derive the benefits, right, of Social Security, you need to work in an organization for a specific number of time. Here they are reduced from 5 years to 3 years, which means once you work in an organization for 3 years, you are supposed to get the gratuity benefits. Why? Because you have shown your loyalty to that company by working 3 years or giving 3 years of years to that organization. Then we have pandemic provisions, national social security boards. All these are covered under the Code on Social Security. And the last is Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions Code 20. This is the 4th labor code the Parliament had enacted. Now, here the factory definition is under this particular 4th labor code. Then hazardous working condition, work hours, the women employment, formalization of employment, which means it would require employers to issue appointment letters. Interstate migration workers, this provision is again covered under the 4th labor code. Portability benefits, which means once a migrant worker changes his state, then he will also get the benefits under this code. And journey allowance, that is the worker's journey from his house to the workplace. That money is also given as allowance under the 4th labor code. So these are some of the provisions. Again, I am telling you, do not by heart all the provisions. All you need to know is which provision falls under which code. That's it. Now, there are some issues concerned with the new labor codes. You need to know 1 to 2 issue for every labor code. That's it. The first one is the Code on Wages. Now, let's understand the issue. Now, under the first issue, the state government cannot fix the minimum salary or minimum salary that every employee should get. Here, the central government is actually setting the minimum wage every employee is eligible or should get. The question is, why shouldn't the state governments be allowed to fix minimum wage? Again, see, this should not be an issue. Why? Because there should be a universal minimum wage that all the employees in our country should enjoy. So, for this standardization purpose, it is important that the central government decides the minimum wage, and that's the reason the state governments here should not be allowed, which is the right thing. The second one, the disputes arising under this code, they will be, or these issues will be determined by the gazetted officers. They are not lawyers. Now, here actually there are concerns about the legal expertise. So, do these gazetted officers have the legal expertise? And if they do not have the legal expertise, how can they adjudicate an issue? Penalty enforcement. Now, the power to give penalty actually rests with the judicial authorities, but here the officers are given. So, here certain designated officers are given the power to impose penalty. Again, this is violating the separation of power. What is separation of power? Legislature, executive and judiciary. The legislature, they will make laws, executive will implement the laws, judiciary will interpret if the laws and the executive provisions are as per the constitution. Employer exemptions from penalties. Now, the employers can be exempt from penalties if they prove due diligence in enforcing the code, right? So, here again there is a concern about the accountability issue. Now, the second concern is with respect to the second code, Code on Social Security. Now, the issue is that the code on Social Security, this code primarily benefits employees of larger establishment, that is establishment having more than 10 workers, which means it leaves or forgets or ignores the significant portion of the workforce, such as those who are working in smaller establishments, right? Then limited benefits for lower income employees. Now, benefits, Social Security benefits like the Provident Fund, the medical insurance are restricted to employees earning above a specified income levels. But those who are earning below the income levels, specified income levels, such Social Security benefits are not extended. Other issue. The code continues to use the pre-existing administrative systems for social security, which means the current system is not taking care of the evolving needs and challenges. The fourth, it is mandatory that you have to link your Aadhaar. Now, this actually flies in the face of or goes against the Supreme Court's judgment when the Supreme Court had said that right to privacy is a fundamental right. So, here by linking Aadhaar, actually the code is violating the fundamental right of a person. Next is code on industrial relations. Now, here again we discussed that the workers and employers must give a 14-day notice period. Now, this actually prohibits, and this also prohibited during conciliation. Now, actually, because of this, it limits the ability of the employees to engage in industrial action. And then, here the government interference in tribunal awards. Now, the awards that the tribunals would give, the government would have the power to defer or delay the enforcement of the tribunal awards, right? And the last is with respect to the code on occupational safety, health and working conditions. The code specifies working conditions and benefits for certain professions like journalists and sales promotion employees. Now, this actually discriminates against other types of workers. So, here these benefits are applicable only to certain professions, not other professions. And here the non-profit organizations are excluded. The charitable and non-profit organizations are not included within the scope of this code, which means the workers who are working in this charitable organizations would not get the benefit. So, these are some of the issues of the 4 new labor codes. So, in this article, you need to know what are the labor laws or labor reforms, that is the 4 labor codes, few provisions and the issues associated with each and every labor code. That's it. I hope you understood this particular article. Students, the title of the next topic is India hosts BIMSTEC Foreign Ministers amid raging Myanmar crisis. Now, in this article, we'll understand what is BIMSTEC and the reason behind the current tensions in Myanmar. And you can map this under prelims as well as GS paper 2 mains. Now, this was a question asked in the year 2022 on BIMSTEC and SAARC. So, please go through the question and try to understand the type of question UPSC might ask. Now, what is the context? The context is that the Indian Foreign Minister emphasized the need of BIMSTEC to find solution to the regional challenges. So, to find solutions to the regional challenges, BIMSTEC should play a pivotal role is what the Foreign Minister of a country is emphasizing. Now, this meeting is significant. Why? Because of the tensions in Myanmar. Now, what is a tension? In brief, I'll understand you or explain you. There are many ethnic groups in Myanmar, and each of these ethnic groups have their own military. Currently, Myanmar is under the military government. They are known as Tatma Dev. Again, this can be a point for your prelims. So, just focus on this word Tatma Dev. Okay? So, there is a feud between the military junta, that is the military government, and the armies of different ethnic groups. They are clashing against each other, leading to the deaths of people, and as a reason, Myanmar is under crisis. And the foreign minister of a country is emphasizing that BIMSTEC should find solutions to such regional challenges. So, this is the context. Now, for your pre-examination, it is very important to know and understand about BIMSTEC. So, what is BIMSTEC? It is Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation. It was formed in 1997 with the help of Bangkok Declaration. What is the aim purpose? To promote technical and economic cooperation among all the countries in the Bay of Bengal region. It comprises of countries who adjoins the Bay of Bengal Sea. There are 7 countries: Bangladesh, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Thailand, Myanmar, India. Very, very important to know names of each and every country. Nepal and Bhutan were not the founding members. Again, a point for your prelims. Headquarters is in Dhaka, and the chairmanship actually rotates. The current chairmanship is with Thailand. 7 countries, Nepal, Bhutan not founding members. All these points are important for your UPSC examination. Features: the BIMSTEC region encompasses 22% of the world's population. Very important point for your prelims. And combined GDP of $3.4 trillion. Now, other regional groups like SAARC or ASEAN, right? the organizations like SARC and ASEAN, they work on different areas, but BIMSTEC is sector driven. It focuses on the technical and economic cooperation. Very important point to notice. Now for India, BIMSTEC is very, very important. Why? Because actually it is helping India's Act East policy. Now what is India's Act East policy? Now through India's Act East policy, India is trying to bolster or strengthen the relations between India and the eastern countries or the Southeast Asian countries. For example, we have through India will connect Bangladesh, from Bangladesh, Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, and from there further towards the East Asia. So it is very important for our country, and recently BIMSTEC has achieved a significant milestone because the charter, its first charter, came into force. So these are the points that you have to remember for your pre-examination. Students, the title of the next topic is heat dome. Now in this article, we'll understand what is heat dome and the role of climate change. You can map this under GS paper. A PYQ asked in the year 2020. Now this was a question asked on the jet streams and cyclones. So please go to the question and try to understand the type of question UPSC might ask. What is the context? The context is that the western part of United States of America is reeling under severe heat wave. This is known by the phenomena of heat dome, because of which 75 million people have been affected. Let us know more about what is heat dome. Now, this is a meteorological phenomenon. This heat dome is characterized by high pressure system in the atmosphere that traps warm air over a region for an extended period. So, what is happening is, let's say for example, this is the ground surface. This is the ground surface, and now at the above or at an elevated position, the high pressure system sets in or kicks in. Now at the lower level, because of the hot air rises, and as the hot air is rising, and when it reaches till this position, because of the high pressure system created over a region for an extended period, the rising air actually is trapped because of this high pressure system, and that's the reason the region gets warm. So this is nothing but the high pressure system is created because of, we'll understand the reason behind the heat wave, but here the air that is rising from the ground level is trapped because of the high pressure system. So the high pressure system acts like a lid on a pot. It prevents the warm air from rising. It actually is trapping and making the region more hot. Now this trapped warm, it leads to clear skies and increased sunlight. Because of the clear skies, more sun rays are penetrating, making the region more hot or warm. This is known as heat dome. So here you can see with the help of a diagram, you can understand what exactly is heat dome. Now, what is the role of the jet stream? Now students, the formation of heat dome is actually linked to the behavior of jet streams. What is jet stream? They are fast moving air current high in the atmosphere. They are fast moving air current which are in this zigzag format or a wave format. It typically follows a wave-like pattern moving from north to south and back then. So it's north to south and back then, right? Now when these waves become larger, so like let's say these are the normal waves. Now when these waves become larger and elongated, actually they can slow down and become stationary. So jet streams are moving, but when the waves become larger and elongated, it actually becomes stationed at one place, leading to the generation or establishment of high pressure system. And this high pressure system will trap the warm air coming from the surface and it will make the region more hot. This is known as heat dome, and jet stream is the reason for heat dome. That's it. This is about the article. I hope students you understood the article. Students, the title of the next topic is why are dengue cases on the rise worldwide? Very, very important point. This is important from the health perspective, and you can map this under GS paper 2. Now, a question was asked in the year 2017, right, on the Zika virus disease. So, question can be asked on the dengue as well. So what is the context? There's a rapid surge in dengue cases recently in Karnataka. It witnessed almost 8,000 cases and 7 deaths. Overall in India, there are almost 20,000 cases and 16 deaths until April 30, 2024. Now this number must have also increased. The WHO data says that over 7.6 million cases have been reported worldwide. There are almost 3,000 deaths. This disease is present in 90 countries, though the actual burden is likely to be underestimated. Monsoon impact. Now, this is because of the onset of monsoon. At least 5 countries, including India, are facing the monsoon season, which are actually favorable for the dengue disease. Now, we'll know more about this dengue. Now, dengue is a viral infection. Now, the transmission is because of this mosquito called Aedes aegypti mosquito. Very, very important point for you to remember for your. These are the symptoms. So, please go through all these symptoms once, because this can be asked in the prelims examination. And the management being, it's symptomatic and supportive treatment with varying approaches based on the illness severity. Management about this particular disease. Now, talking about the vector and environment. Now, changing distribution of Aedes aegypti, which means this mosquito is changing its region or space. Then problems like urbanization, climate change and our human activities is actually furthering this disease. And how do you control it? By emphasizing on vector control, disease prevention, early diagnosis and proper medical care. So, in this article, it is very important to remember Aedes aegypti, and it is a viral infection disease, and you need to know few data or facts about this particular topic. That's it about this topic, right? Students, now it's time to discuss few practice questions. Question number 1. This is a statement regarding heat domes. First statement is formed when a high pressure system in the atmosphere traps warm air over a region. Yes, exactly. The second, the trapped warm air in a heat dome leads to increased cloud formation. No, there's no question of rainfall. So this statement number 2 is incorrect. The behavior of the jet stream, which can become stationary and establish a high pressure system, is closely linked to the formation. Yes, absolutely correct. Rising global temperatures due to climate change have intensified. Yes, self-explanatory. So 1, 3 and 4, which means option B has to be the correct answer for question number 1. So students, if you have listened to all the topics carefully, then I'm pretty sure that you'll be in a position to address these questions, right? So please listen the videos and the topics carefully to address such type of questions. Second question, this about dengue. Dengue is a bacterial infection. No, it is a viral infection. First statement is incorrect. Now, symptoms of dengue include, yes, it covers all these symptoms. So, it seems option B is the correct answer for question number 2. Next question. With reference to BIMSTEC. Now, Bhutan is a founding member. No, Nepal and Bhutan are not the founding members. BIMSTEC's headquarters are located in Kathmandu. No, it's located in Dhaka, Bangladesh. The second statement is also incorrect. BIMSTEC is a sector-driven organization. Yes, technical and economic cooperation are not correct. See, here the question is not correct, which means 1 and 2 are not correct, right? Next question, this is on the code on wages. As per the code, the central government will fix the floor wages, that is minimum wages. Yes, this is what we had discussed. The number of working hours will be fixed by the central and the state governments. Yes. So here, both the statements seems to be correct. So option C is the correct answer. The question number 5. With reference to Industrial Relations Code. As per the code, it is mandatory for employers with 100 or more workers to define. No, it is 10 or more workers, right? So it is 10. This is incorrect. Employees are prohibited from going on strike without giving a 60-day notice period. Yes, this is correct. So here, option B is the correct answer for question number 5. And let's discuss a means-based question. Discuss the role and significance of Finance Commission in India's fiscal federalism. How far do special packages outside Finance Commission allocations contribute to achieving equitable development? Critically evaluate with examples. Now students, when it comes to dealing with such question, first in the introduction you have to mention what is Finance Commission established under Article 280 is very important for the allocation of revenues between the central government and the state government. This helps the state to have its own independent mechanism to work for the welfare of the state. Intro. Body, role of Finance Commission. Explain what is vertical devolution, horizontal distribution and grants in it. Also try to explain the formula on the basis of which the horizontal distribution is made. Now, what is vertical, horizontal? I have already explained. Special packages. What is special packages? The money given to the states which is outside the Finance Commission recommendation is nothing but special packages. Then what is the purpose? The purpose is to meet the peculiar challenge faced by a state or few states. That's the reason this special package is given, like Andhra Pradesh. Now, Andhra Pradesh wants to build a capital city. So, it needs huge money, and that's the reason they are requesting for a special package. Evaluation, what are the benefits? Now, here, these special packages will allow the states to utilize the money for the things that they ask the money for. For example, Andhra Pradesh to build a capital city, that is, it needs money for the infrastructural development. Now, what are the challenges? So, if the governance and let's say efficiency to utilize the money takes a hit, then the money or then the special packages given to that state will be a waste. So, here it needs to be carefully thought and care should be taken that the money given to these states who are in need of special package, this money should be properly utilized, which means there should be transparency and accountability in utilizing the money given by the central government to the state government. And then finally, you can emphasize the role of Finance Commission, that is how Finance Commission helps in the fiscal federalism. It allows the states to use the money in a way so as to help the state for its welfare. This is the way of how you need to write the main space answer. I hope since you understood each and every 5 topics. So, make sure that you are listening each and every topic and also jotting down the points. So, you should be in the position to have a holistic and a crisp understanding of all the topics, which I am pretty sure will help you in the UPSC examination. So, students, if you feel that this DNA initiative is helping you in your UPSC preparation, then please do like, share and subscribe to Narayana IAS. Thank you so much.